How y'all doing? I'm just getting off work right now. I want to share this with y'all. I like to share these things like when they're fresh in my head. And I was thinking about a book I read called The Zahir by Paulo Coelho. I don't know if I'm saying his name right. But if you recognize that name, even though I said it wrong probably, he's out there, The Alchemist. Great book. I read that book like once a year. I probably bought about like 30 copies for people and just giving them out. So I was thinking about this book called The Zahir. And the Zahir, the word Zahir is an Arabic word. It means like unforgettable, like an obsession almost. I don't even think we have an English equivalent of this word. And I love how they describe the word. It's almost like it's between holy and madness. You know, it's this really extreme, intense word. I love how the book goes into the description about it. But it's an unorthodox book about marriage and how this guy has hunted down his wife, you know, that left him. And throughout this journey, you know, he's discovering all these things about their marriage. And like, again, it's a very unorthodox look at marriage. Deep book, beautiful book. Paulo Coelho's just a great writer. But I want to share one of the parts of the book that really stuck out to me. And I don't know if y'all see my shirt. These are drawings with my granddaughter. She ain't even 5 years old. She's already drawing these this good, you know, these little houses with ears on them. I like to wear their artwork, and it's purple because I got the wrong color. But I got off track right there. But so the Zahir, there's a part of the book where he goes to a train station, and he's looking at the train tracks, and he asks the dude at the train station, like, "Hey, how wide are these tracks?" And the dude's like, 4 feet, 8.5 inches. It's like this really weird number, you know? So he asked the guy, like, well, why did they just make it even 5 feet? And the dude's like, I don't know, man, I just work here. And he's like, well, were the tracks made to fit the train, or was the train made to fit the tracks? Again, dude tells like, look, man, I just work here, you know, I don't know what to tell you, you know? And so he starts doing his research. And as he's doing his research, he realizes that the train tracks were built the way they are. It came all the way down from Roman times. The Romans built the roads, and they built the roads to accommodate 2 horses. And then when the carriages came along, they kept them the same. Cars got invented. All these, as technology progressed, nobody ever changed the width of the road. So we were constantly accommodating everything we built to fit roads that were built in Roman times, and their purpose was for 2 horses, you know? And in the book, he's talking about marriage and how people, you know, just kind of go along with the traditional marriages and what traditional marriages say roles are and everything like that. And nobody ever questions it. You know, he even talks about how the train tracks are parallel and they never meet each other. And that's how people are in marriage. It gets really deep, you know, about that. But I think it applied to a lot of things when I read it. And that's what stuck out to me, you know, like if you look at how we are and how we operate, you know, we don't really question a lot of things, you know. A lot of people get their religion from what their parents' religion are. A lot of people get their politics from what their parents' politics were. They got it from their parents. They got it from their parents. You know, certain ways that they do things. You know, I'm not saying it don't work. I'm not saying it ain't right. I'm just saying that maybe every once in a while we ought to step back and ask, hey, does this still apply? A lot of the things that we're carrying and we're doing were made for a time that a whole different time and a whole different circumstance. You know, that doesn't exist anymore. Again, I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying that every once in a while I think we should step back and question these things. You know, hey, does this still apply? He finishes the example about the train tracks by talking about when they built the space shuttle. They're trying to transport the space shuttle from, I think it was Utah, to wherever the space shuttle launched at. And they had a really hard time because they couldn't fit everything because nothing was built to accommodate the space shuttle. Everything was still based on 2 horses, the width of 2 horses. I thought that was a beautiful description on why we should question things. Like I said, I'm not saying they're wrong. I'm just saying every once in a while we should step back and question them and see if it still fits. I tell my kids all the time, like, hey, don't marry me to my ideas that I have today. You know, they could change. It doesn't mean I'm wishy-washy. It just means new information has come in and I've embraced it. I'm not going to fight against it and say, no, this is how we do things. No, that's a really stubborn and foolish way to live, in my opinion. So I just want to share that with y'all, man. Check out the book. Check out The Alchemist first. That's a really great book. I'd like to hear what y'all say in the comments. You know, if y'all read these books or if y'all have any thoughts on this. And again, hit the follow. And I really appreciate y'all here listening to me talk, man. I love to talk.